All right, all right. We are live. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is Live in Love with Laura. It is the third episode here live, which is so fun. It feels like it's been happening um, for months, actually, to be honest with you, but it's only just this week. All right, nice little fade out of the music in the background. I'm starting to learn some new pieces of the streaming. Got my brother here live. That's fun. All right, so I am I really don't think about what I'm going to say before going on here, which is funny. I because there's lots to think about before going on. Like I have Instagram Live on my phone. I've got all this lighting, different mics, different video cameras. I have a new program that I'm learning that I'm really happy about so far. It allows me to stream on YouTube, stream on Facebook, stream on LinkedIn, stream on Instagram. So it's exciting to have everything happening all at once. It's just a lot to get used to. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for being part of the journey as I learn it in this new arena. It's a lot of fun to learn. And if it's something that you've been contemplating, maybe you've been contemplating doing videos or going online or starting an Instagram or doing live stream, like just do it. Just do it. I've been thinking about it a lot, but not from a place of how to. It's more like where am I going to place it in my life, because it is a commitment. So I will say that it is a commitment, so make sure you cultivate the time for this. And yeah, it's fun. So it is January 4th, 2023. For those who are here now, maybe you're listening later, so it is whatever the date is then, which is also cool about the live streaming is this will exist forever. Oh my goodness. What is that called? I think it's called evergreen material, where it creates and stays forever. I don't think it stays forever. But we had Joao here yesterday, which was so much fun. He's on live now, and I just can't wait for those conversations with him. It's just such a joy to have him here. So much love, and we have great conversations on our own, and we decided why not share those conversations with other people. We learn and we grow in the conversations, and I'm sure listening, you'll be able to take some things away as well. So he'll be here on Tuesdays, which is exciting. A big happy birthday to our dear friend Dawn. We did a three-way call with her today, which was a blast. Happy birthday to her. Yeah, so I was talking to a friend of mine recently about New Year's resolutions. And I think, I haven't talked about New Year's resolutions yet this year, which is something I love. I love January. I love a new calendar, a new slate. I feel like it's an opportunity to reconnect to what it is that you want in your life. Are you there? How far are you from it? What have you been spending your time and energy on? Last year, where did your time and energy go, and where do you want it to go this year? So January is one of my favorite times of the year for that. I'm super excited because I have a mastermind that's actually starting tomorrow, Thursday evenings. Unfortunately, the mastermind is closed, so you can't jump in on that. But I'm excited about it. I can't wait. There's people from different parts of the world that are going to be on that mastermind, and it's going to be so fun. Different ages and stages in life, so to be able to watch how everybody takes the tools into their life and integrates it, and also masterminds are such a great place to support one another, be able to as people receive insights and they share those insights, other people learn that something that from a different perspective. We talked about perspectives already this week, and how important it is to just have the space to listen to someone else's perspective. You don't have to agree, but to just hear it out and receive that information. I think it's like, have you ever met anybody who says they don't like a certain food? Like they'll be like, "Oh, I don't like sushi. I don't like sushi. I don't like sushi." Like, well, have you ever tried sushi? Like, no. It was like, how do you know you don't like sushi? Or like when you're a kid, you're like, I don't like broccoli, broccoli, broccoli. And like, well, have you tried it? No. How do you know you don't like something unless you've tried it? But when it comes to perspectives and opinions, I feel like people just decide that they disagree or they don't like something, but they actually haven't listened to what that perspective is, or they actually haven't taken time to receive that information. Maybe someone they know has an opinion about it, so they adopt that opinion. Yep, that's the way that it is because so and so told me that. Okay, but have you looked into it? Have you listened to that person? Have you taken in that information so you can have your own perspective and be able to, sure, you can disagree, but to be able to at least hear it out. There is this beautiful, I don't know if I would say it's a quote, it's more like a motto for this Unitarian local church. And I just always loved it. You do not need to think alike to love alike. You do not need to think alike to love alike. My goodness, would the world be different if we could just adopt that one motto? Got some amazing people on the live right now. It's so exciting to see people jump on here, people I haven't seen in a while. My old drama teacher is on, Miss Carolyn Lobsinger. Oh my God, so fun. It's like, I'm sure she sees like the adult version of me and is like, yeah, this makes sense. Of course, you're doing lives. Oh, funny, funny. So, I was talking about New Year's resolutions and how this is my favorite time of the year. And I really do spend a good portion of December in my, I isolate and I go inward and really do a lot of reflection and thinking about my year, what was successful, what went well, what didn't go well, where areas to grow. And I love that it's something to every year that I do. And then when I go into January, it's this time where it's like, okay, like it's time to start putting energy into new places and spaces. So this year on New Year's, I do like certain rituals and I meditate and get myself in like a certain connection and headspace. And I went to write out what I wanted and my goals. And for whatever reason, I just had this thought, and like I'm just going to preface this. All right. So I have always had a really deep spiritual connection, always. I was that weird kid that when I didn't talk for the first 3 years of my life. And then when I did start talking, I would tell my mom things like how I came to Earth. And I would explain to her how I chose her and my dad to be my parents, and I explain like this tunnel of light and all these things. And I think about my poor mom, like what do you do with a 3-year-old that never talks and then all of a sudden starts saying things like this? Like there's no place for me to have adopted those ideas. Like it's not like I watched a show or got exposed to something where I could get those ideas. So I've always just had that connection, but blessings that my mom never shut it down. She would always inquire, ask questions, oh, tell me more, versus like, oh, that's just your imagination, which I think a lot of adults do to kids. I think we all have that connection. I think we all have that deeper connection. We come here with it and we start to get shaped by the environments that we're in, the culture that we're in, the schooling that we're in, and we lose that connection. However, I had parents who had a deep, strong faith in God, and like I grew up in the Catholic religion. But I also had, an aunt and my mom who were into that different aspect of spirituality, dreams and card readings and things like that. So it was always part of my life, so much part of my life that I don't even think to talk about it. I notice how people start to get into spiritual exploration and they start to get into cards or psychic readings and it's this space of like angel numbers and things like that. And to me, I'm like, I used to do all that when I was a kid. Like that is something that if there were layers to awakening or layers to understanding spirituality, and if you were to like say, in kindergarten you learn about numbers and you learn letters, you learn colors, and then in grade 1 you start to put those numbers together and you add them up, and then in grade 3 or 4, I don't know what the grades are, the curriculum these days, but like then you start to multiply them and things like that. So when it comes to your spiritual awakening or progression, there's layers to it. And I think like card readings and psychic readings and things like that, that's like learning colors, learning numbers, learning how to spell your name and things like that. But it can go so much deeper, so much deeper. And I'm not talking from like a religious perspective, because religions, there's so many different religions, they incorporate spirituality, of course, but you can get spirituality connection outside of religion. There's, I think, even just connecting with nature. You go outside and you connect with nature and you connect to the trees or you connect to the wind or the water. And, you can look into the sky and get that sense of awe and wonder that there's something more to life. So spirituality is beyond religion. It can be found in religion, of course it can, but it can be found within yourself. And I really do believe that's the place to look. So I just wanted to preface that spirituality has always been a big part of me. And it's not really something I talk about very often. I know it's kind of laced in everything that I do, because I am a registered psychotherapist. And, I also am a guide and teacher within advanced spiritual training. So I do energy healing and I've always talked about that. So it's not like I'm not shy to talk about these things. It's so much a part of my life that I don't think to talk about it. It's like talking about breathing. I don't sit here and be like, okay, so this is how I inhale. Well, actually I do sometimes, don't I? Because you have to learn how to deepen your breath and connect. Okay, so that's a bad example. I suppose I don't talk about oxygen. I don't sit here and be like, okay, so when you inhale oxygen and you like I don't talk about it because it's so much a part of my life. Now, I sat down to do my intentions this year. January 1st, shut everything off, went inward, and went to go and write and think about what is it that I want this year. And for whatever reason, this thought or guidance came up where it was like, well, what does God want for you this year? And I was like, huh. Then I realized I don't think I've ever asked myself that question on January 1st. Going into a new year, that question. Of course, I constantly pray for guidance on how I can serve and how I can connect and serve the highest good. But I've never actually asked that question, what does God want for my year this year? And of course, my mind just flooded with all these ideas. And I had to just stop myself because I was like, okay, hang on a second. If this was actually, coming from God, it wouldn't be coming through my mind thinking in this way where it's like, so I was like, I need to just put the book aside. And I sat there and I meditated. And quite honestly, I don't know how long I meditated for. I think I was there for a very, very, very long time and was in such a place of bliss and peace and quiet stillness. And for those of you who maybe tried meditation and you're like, oh yeah, people talk about that peace and stillness. When I try meditation, it doesn't work for me because I'm busy. Just so you know, every human being has to experience that. It is the subconscious flushing out. So when you meditate and it's busy, you just haven't sat long enough for you to get to that place of stillness and quiet. And quite frankly, it comes in time. So just to fully share about meditation, like for me to talk about it so freely, like, yes, I went into this blissful place of stillness and peace. And, I don't want to seem fluffy and I don't want to seem like you can just do that. It takes time and practice. So I'm in this place. And of course, I'm just completely centered. I'm feeling empty, quiet, which is a nice place to be when you are someone who thinks a lot. And I'm one of those people too. So, hey. And when I came out of it and it was like, okay, so what is it that God wants this year? And of course, what's the answer? I'm sure if we all had to put up some money on it, it came in one word and it was love. And I went, huh. But if like, oh, my intention this year is love, that's going to be my word. I'm not talking like that. It's such a profound experience because it wasn't the word love. It was the essence of love that came through. And as I was writing, it was very clear for me to bring that into everything that I do. And of course I do that, but there's also a side of me that's like, okay, so how do I create this with my business, and how do I create this program, and how do I make this for that person, blah 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 blah, thinking. And I've been working on this project. I've actually designed an app, which has been really a lot of fun, and I can tell you guys more about that later. But there's an aspect to the app that was going to be part of a subscription, and it was so clear that in this connection of okay, so how does that show up in the things that I'm doing? It was like, well, you're doing this app And there's the community component to that. It needs to be free. This is my dialogue with God. I'm like, okay, okay, sure. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense though, because, we need to come together. We just need to come together. We've been so isolated and programmed to fear each other and fear the people that we love most during this time. And it's so important to reconnect. And if I've learned anything through the lockdowns and pandemic, is that you can connect deeply with people no matter where they are in the world. Just the same as how you can lay down next to someone and they're right next to you and they could feel so far away. You ever had that experience where they just like, it's like, why are they even there? Because they feel so far. And then you could have someone who's 1,000 miles away and they can feel so close. So I think it's time for us to do that reconnection of love. Let's bring that back, and not just this fluffy word, but like to embody that. And you embody these sorts of things through practices like meditation, through practices like prayer, through practices like just connecting to nature, just shutting things off and connecting to yourself and being able to build that relationship with yourself, to implement the things that we talked about yesterday with Joao, where it's like, the words that we use, not just outwardly, but inwardly. How do you speak about yourself? Do you speak about yourself with love? Or are you highly critical? Do you doubt yourself? Do you discourage yourself? You got to become the biggest cheerleader in your mind and to share that love with others. So I have to jet because I have a series of clients that I need to see now, and I can't be here all day. But I do want to, just share how this came up for me, and I invite you to spend some time to connect with yourself, whatever that looks like. Disconnect from the electronics. Now that I've done my live stream, you can now disconnect from electronics and connect to yourself. Just be able to tune in, whatever that looks like. Focus on your breath. Watch as the mind goes a little bit, all this stuff comes up. Come back to the breath and allow yourself to connect to a deeper part of yourself and bring your intentions for the year from there. Of course, if you need some support with this, reach out. There's tons of classes and programs I can share with you that can help you do this. So if it's something you struggle with, I get it. We all struggle with it. It's part of being human. But let's focus on love, and let's reconnect to each other and to ourselves and to a deeper purpose in life. So much love to everybody. Thank you for being here for the live. We've got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. I don't even know if anybody listens to things on LinkedIn. I don't like it's just exciting. This is very exciting. And later, you'll be able to listen to this in the replay. So much love. Thank you for being here, everyone. Looking forward to sharing this new year adventure with you. Happy Wednesday, I believe it is, here now, and wherever you are and whatever day it is when you're listening to this later. Much love to your day. Sending everyone so much, so much, so much. What? Love, 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 love. Bye, everyone. All right, ending the broadcast.